Hello and welcome to the Manawatu 4WD Club fundraising safari for 2020. The area we're going into this trip has a fascinating history. 120,000 New Zealanders served during the First World War, which is 12% of the population. 20,000 of those who served abroad did not return. Due to the large numbers of returning soldiers, the newly formed Repatriation Department was charged with finding them employment. As part of the Discharged Soldiers Resettlement Act, returning servicemen could apply for an allotment of land at a Lands and Surveys office. Many of these allotments were in the steep Papa Clay country east of the Taranaki. The government surveyed and built roads up the valleys, and returned soldiers set about breaking in the steep bush country. Unfortunately, most of these blocks were to fail due to the steepness, poor soil and the isolation of the land. Many simply walked off the land 5 to 10 years later. This year the Manuwatu 4WD Club fundraiser was to be held in the Waitotara Valley in South Taranaki. This was in support of the Himatangi Surf Lifesaver Club and the Teenagers with Cancer charity CANTEEN. This district was a soldier rehabilitation area with a hard reputation for being extremely steep and remote, and I was keen to explore it further. We left home in Auckland on Friday afternoon and travelled south to New Plymouth and filled up for the last time for 3 days in Hawera. The organisers stated that we'd be covering around 200 kilometres all off-road, and there's no cell phone coverage. This year the group was broken up into 6 teams of around 15 vehicles. We were sent to 6 different sites around Ngamatapouri for the driver's safety briefing. Our team, the Kauri team, met outside the Ngamatapouri Hall at around 7:30 and we headed up the Taumata Road.
Lights on.
Lights on.
How you go, mate?
We're just not going to run headlights for the first little while just while our battery charges up.
Well, the lights through here, eh? So this is a public road.
Let us know when you get over the bridge and you're starting the hill climb. Thank you.
Copy, sir.
Jesus. What? Did you see how deep that was?
No, not that
Shit. Up.
Just working out the initial cut.
Yeah, exactly,
You know what I mean? Like, you gotta fucking...
Can't you imagine a bit of water on this? Far out.
You definitely wouldn't be doing this if it was wet, would you?
Slightly. Fango did that on a simple track like this. Simple country actually. And where Taiapi is, sort of out to the east from Taiapi.
Track way down there, that could just come out. Fuck, it's a long way down.
Don't tell me that. Yeah, that came off. He went around the corner and suddenly he started doing this whole fuck's going on.
See you in a month.
Yeah. go up. Pop on the ridge off. They're trying to get it in the four-wheel drivers because they've actually got some of that stainless steel gauze that are used for the grills. Brake lights. Let's go.
This would be interesting if it was damp.
Going up or going down?
Going down.
But the stuff away, we take the high road straight up, don't we, Galen? Over.
Oh.
Pretty sure we just keep going up, yeah.
I like the delineators on the corner.
Just in case you hit it.
Yeah, copy. How does it feel to you? We're definitely going up the right track. I saw my old painted mark on the ground. Lovely. Oh, we just hit a Bambi. You saw a what? A young deer. Bambi number 242.
Makes sense to me. You want to run the front top.
Vehicles coming the other way, eh? He's driving.
Doing the same.
The term papa or papa rock is used for the soft blue-grey mudstone or muddy sandstone found throughout the southwestern area of the North Island. The name papa comes from the Maori word of earth or ground. The term was used by the early European settlers to describe the blue mudstone, also known as grease rock. The papa rock formed about 15 million years ago as a deposit on the sea floor, which was later uplifted. The papa is relatively soft because it has never been fully buried or compacted, but it lies in distinct layers. When the water penetrates the layer below, the surface layer, if not already mush, simply slides off the layer below. Large forests were cleared by hand, the trees cut down and burned. It took about 15 years for the roots of the old forest giants to fully break down. Once rotted, these holes formed the access the water needed to the layers below, so the surface layers, once held by the giant tree roots, simply slipped off.
Because obviously
Found have spent their time cutting the manuka and trying to clear the land, and now they're all regrowing it.
yeah. So obviously when we were still on the council road, there was that big processing plant.
One of the soldier settlements was the Ngamatapouri Valley, which connected between Ratahi and the Wanganui River by a concrete single-lane bridge. The farms were quite successful and a great community was formed, but the road failed due to the layers slipping off every winter, blocking the road. The council, sick of maintaining the road, closed it and forced the farmers off the land in the late 1940s. This bridge is now known as the Bridge to Nowhere. Another well-known area is Wangamomina. Wangamomina was on the railway line connecting Taranaki to Taranaki. Now known as Forgotten Highway, this is also a supply centre for many of the soldier settlements in the area.
Just stopping for a photo that's framed by the banks.
most of the camp spots you have to pre-book.
Yeah.
You can't just rock on up. Do you guys have got inner tubes and how to go with that?
No problem, you know.
Exactly. So it's only because you know you've got local knowledge. So you got 11 ton of honey on board.
Yeah. The engine brakes must be working overtime down something like this, ain't it?
Well, I was talking to Murray about
Well, that was the delay. We just saw 5 young deer move off the road and up into the bank ahead of us.
It's a good view from the front, eh?
Yeah, sure is.
feed through the bag, so it's actually like a bar. I'm looking at getting some chains just to carry with me. I'm running all terrains, but some of these sites I'm going into. There's a few
Old motorhome on our left up here.
Graham Annabelle grew up in Ngamatapouri, possibly the son of a returned serviceman. Graham purchased an abandoned soldier block at the end of the Manawatu Road in 1950 and cleared the land by hand and built the Annabelle homestead. Unfortunately, Graham's father died in 1960 and Graham took over the Manawatu station in Ngamatapouri and combined the two farms. Rather than take the 4-hour trek between the farms, he bought himself an aeroplane and bulldozed 2 makeshift runways in the hill country which are still there today. He could fly between the 2 farms in 15 minutes.
Someone live here.
This is the former Annabelle homestead, now repaired and named Opako Lodge. This accommodation is part of the Manawatu station and is available for hire. Ernest Frank Matthews was born to Les and Hilda Matthews in Waverley in 1926. Ernie was named after his uncle who died in the First World War and is remembered on the limestone plaque at the top of the Kapara Pass we just came through. Ernie trained as a pilot during the Second World War, but the war ended before he was deployed. He learned blade shearing down south before working on a farm in Waiheke Island in Auckland. Ernie was offered a share in what is now one of the most valuable pieces of real estate in the country, but turned it down. Instead, at the age of 23, Ernie purchased 500 acres from Sid Hughes up the Waitotara Valley in 1949, across Opako Road, from where Graham Annabelle bought a year later. Ernie went on to buy many of the surrounding soldier farms and cleared the land. He built his own shearing shed from split totra and used split manuka for the floors with a stationary engine belt drive for the shearing handpieces. Ernie never drove anywhere but walked great distances, so not sure who owned the vehicle in his house paddock. Ernie was known for hoarding newspapers and magazines, which is speculated to have contributed to the house fire that saw him lose everything in 2004 at the age of 78. A new house was built while he lived in a house once occupied by Rehabilitation, which Ernie now owned down the Waitotara Valley. 4 years later, due to failing health, Ernie moved to his brother's house in Westmere, Auckland at the age of 82. The old man of the Maui died peacefully back at home in the Waitotara Valley on the 4th of May 2011, and following the service at St Hilda in the Wood Chapel, we had passed earlier in the Ngamatapouri Valley, Ernie was laid to rest at a grave site he had prepared next to a karri tree he had planted many years before.
That'll
No hurry, eh?
It's a gnarly looking gate, isn't it? Maybe it's been attacked.
The concrete dip.
Oh, no.
They got a photograph of them standing on the edge of it. It's about a metre deep also.
Interesting cut, isn't it?
Yeah, looks like she's
Named after Riwi Maniapoto from Arakau, Riwi Ali was born 2nd of December 1897 in Springfield near Christchurch and later served in France in World War I. Upon his return, Riwi and another war veteran, Jack Stevens, purchased this block in 1921 and commenced clearing the land and farmed sheep. Jack eventually married in 1927 and Riwi moved out and sailed for China amidst the rise of communist revolution and open war between China, the Soviet Union and Japan over Manchuria and its mineral wealth. Riwi was moved seeing Chinese labourers working on the battlefields in France, and then in the 1930s he was working in factories in Shanghai and saw sacks in the alley behind the factories. At first he thought they were sacks of rubbish, but they weren't. They were dead children. Children worked to death in foreign-owned factories. Little bundles of humanity worked to death for someone's profit. So he decided there and then he would work to help China. Riwi became a writer, political activist and a member of the Communist Party of China. He dedicated 60 years of his life to the cause and was a key figure in the establishment of the Chinese industrial cooperative called Gung Ho and technical training schools. In the 1950s, Riwi was reported to have been offered a knighthood but turned the honour down, but did receive the Companion of the Queen's Service Order in 1985. Riwi Ali died 2 years later in 1987 at the age of 90. There is no rock base to this road. In winter the papa clay, also known as grease rock, makes the road impassable without either mud chains or grouses, which is why the council closes the road from June to October every year. I understand the erection of this gate annoyed Ernie, not only for making his 24-kilometre round trip to pick up his mail more difficult, but also preventing visits from four-wheel drive clubs, bringing in his mail and some fresh supplies of milk and bread. Ernie's brother Ray met up with Ernie by his letterbox, where he walked out of the bush and said, "You're the first person I've spoken to for 3 months."
You got coverage? Briefly. Brakes the whole way.
It's the photo shoot one across the river that's taken the time. Over.
was tail end Charlie.
Eh?
I thought he was tail end Charlie.
Yours.
John had. Gee, how bad of front wheels?
You're rolling now, over. Yep, for private conversation later.
I reckon that they dragged it out. Yeah, fine. So I'm assuming when we went left, the main road.
See the deer climbing the hill on the left of us here?
She might have to possibly get in there.
This corner coming up here where Caitlin's spotting is a very tough switchback on our right hand side, over.
Coming off the layers, isn't it?
You judged that well. Done it once or twice already. Imagine cutting this track.
I mean, there's a lot of rock in there.
Probably didn't overthink it like I did. I would, you know. Whoa! What a view. What a panorama. That's impressive, isn't it?
A hell of a height, eh? She sort of been cleaned up.
Dust trap going down.
You copy?
It's got quite a lean on it, isn't it?
Yeah. Quite a big unit too.
Eh?
Big unit. We went up to a high side.
Empty hearts and neon lights, playing with my mind. Gotta get up and feel tonight. Wanna run off and fly, and I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. I hate all this overthinking. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started. Get me out of now.
I wonder what the Toyotas using to come down these hills. The highlights. She wouldn't have low ratio.
Just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. I hate all this overthinking.
It's warm down here, isn't it?
All these gates were opened, by the way.
Scary little bridge.
See when you slide into it full on spot.
Or not. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's the track we're running next. But if people don't want to go, that's their call. Over.
Oh, we're back at the was funny. We get to the end of that driveway and everyone just scattered and then nobody knew which way we went.
Wooden gate.
So they would have sold that for a couple of mil probably and moved off down to Alexandra and bought half of Alexandra. That was it.
A slip.
You get a cutting like this.
Yeah.
You go big on through something like this, eh?
There's another pink ribbon gate up here. See, it's fine. A wooden one.
Straight at my arm.
Copy, Peter.
What's that?
We got back to camp. We got two-wheel drive. Got reliability. Hey! Got that one video.
Did you say he's on road fire?
bloody cheap. I mean, it was like 8,500 for,
Hey, look at this. Look at the sign. How bizarre.
I suppose it's something that keeps it like that.
It almost looks like it's been mowed, Kevin.
Yeah.
We must be on a public road then, surely.
Yeah, yeah. Road, it's not after it. Too well lit.
The settlement of Wairau changed its name to Waverley in 1876 to avoid confusion with Wairau on the east coast north of Napier. It had to be a problem during the How Wars, as there were campaigns raging in Wairau and the Taranaki with Te Tokawaru, and Wairau on the east coast with Te Kuti, both in 1867. Why Waverley? Many of the area's early settlers came from Scotland. They chose the new name in memory of Sir Walter Scott, whose books have become known as the Waverley novels.
Glad we went doing this. I wonder why they've done this. Maybe this gets too wet.
Yeah. Probably find it slips up there or something.
Beautiful road there. Sealed road. Jesus, this is steep.
This is where I nearly came to grief last year.
I'm not surprised. Hey. What happened though?
It was wet and slippery and treacherous. And today it's a piece of cake. All packed up here and inspected our damage and recuperated.
What happened exactly? Were you sliding on that clay stuff?
It was wet and it was very, very slippery, and 2 or 3 cars went into those trees, and one car particularly bashed in the whole of the side of the... If it wasn't for the trees, they would have gone over the bank.
Wake up call for everybody.
Was that a white Land Cruiser V8? Do you remember?
It's the one, yes.
Stop! Stop! No! Come back!
Maybe the gate. The model machine crash.
Hey? Short trips today.
Well, you think it was just purely by luck that people said take unusual photos.
It's got the 4.5 V8 under that one. added some cars to this group.
Yes.
What flag?
It's the top gate where you turn right for the big bush. Just put it on that Ngamatapouri gate at the top. See cars.
It's an interesting looking bridge again.
Probably put 100 four-wheel drives over that.
Heat is it in front, they've done to the motor on that thing.
Yeah.
Oversized wings and everything, right? They've been going through some really rough terrain, they'll actually pick up the front wheels. That sort of says things are a bit stiff, doesn't it?
The Land-Rover X is all I know, so we're serious, you know. You know, little tough trucks. Jesus. Yeah. The big Range Rover. Got that tractor joint, rose joint, ball joint set up. Just the Auckland Land Rover Club goes into Tororua every now and then, Tororua Forest, which is the tracks he was talking about. Screw them back on, basically.
Yeah. It's some juice fasteners.
From which?
Juice fasteners.
Alright.
They're a quarter turn.
Oh yeah. So there's no gap in between, it's fully sealed. So I just use a short little one machine screws, they show. So much work on
Thanks, guys.
There's so much work on the beginning of last year. I didn't get a chance to do the airwork video. I've got about finish all those videos. So I'm just doing a quick video of that kayak trip last Saturday. That's only about 10 minutes long. There's a couple of people that were on the trip who want to have a look at it. So I'll just do that and then I'll do the airwork, finish the airwork and I'll keep the photographs.
Yeah, copy.
We're just doing a little recovery here for the Toyota Ute. We just delayed about 5 minutes.
It's not the Hilux, is it?
Time to break out the pineapple lump.
boat road. Eerie.
Kind of invisible there for a big chunk of that part, wasn't it?
This was the last time Ashley and I did the boat here and that green Range Rover. And we drive along and you couldn't see anything off the side, there's just nothing there. I took a photograph of the front wheel, you can see it's about this far from the edge. You got may or may not have been a good thing. So you see the gearbox disappear out of the hole in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Double housing in the steering. So why'd you make the bumper so thick?
Like
So you
this.
just smack straight into the bank and not worry about it bending and doing any damage. That sort of corner there, you just plant it into the bank and scrape it all the way along. Guess he's got coverage. I'll set a lock on the back of that.
Morning. Stand well back.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
That must have been close.
no.
All right.
I'll show you close.
Oh, you're a great man.
It's all armoured all the way round, eh? So
Oh, yeah, of course.
you just back it up there, you hear something go bong and we're close.
You're cheating. You only
Yeah.
get 70 points.
That's it.
You wouldn't want to fuck that up, would you?
I can't see, fortunately. Well, my tyres scrape quite badly with the terrain on it.
Good big there, Paul.
down the there's one at the so they start off like that. They start off in the tree and grow down.
Oh, really?
It's in our roots.
So planted by birds.
Yes, yeah, the treetops, so they can survive in the forest. It's their way of competing with the covered ground. And that's all part of the mine.
All done.
Oh, that's fun. They hadn't left, they would have just got a barrage of rifle fire, you know. Oh, you fucking kidding.
That's cool.
Car got rolled yesterday. Coming up the hill.
Yeah.
Much room for error there, wasn't there?
Yeah. I thought he said like only 500 metres from the entrance.
Real wilderness. Yeah, keep on going and charging. Oh, I turned to cabin for God's sake. Yeah. Yeah. They obviously they're not worried
Nice disco, by the way.
Thank you.
Mine started like this 4 years ago, white, and I've bobtailed it and painted it green and turned it into a bloody full-on mud truck.
Weapon.
You turned out in front of me in Oklahoma on Friday.
Oh.
You came from the Otra side and I came from Hamilton.
Oh, you in the Series 3?
Yeah, the Series 3,
okay.
and then I pulled in front and went, oh man, I love this. The disco one, this colour, is it auto?
300 TDI auto, yeah.
Lovely, man. Perfect. As much as I like my D3, I still wouldn't mind one of these either, eh?
That's cool, eh? So I think the how through this bush back in 1862.
Wow, look at Egmont.
It's what the proper road is.
Go straight up there like the side by side, yes.
What's the hour though?
Hey?
Probably over one hour. Side by side on that. Very National Park now.
Just up to the right, you can just make out Mount Maunganui.
Mount Maunganui.
I wish.
The main camp there. Go look to a little bush patch, and it's just a sheer drop like 50, 100 metres straight on the edge of this cliff. Straight down. Big volcanic cliff face. Camp on top of that. And then you can see the birds. Drove back round the road. We're back at the campsite like that. Just couldn't believe the view that you can witness. Just unbelievable. Broke up over that mountain range just by behind Taranaki there. Chased him down and flogged him and everything. They put him on a
Too much power, eh?
Thanks. I couldn't put the So that it's quite full of himself and some of his one he's never been.
Sorry?
Through the waves, I want to be.
I think a humble South African would be a fairly rare thing, wouldn't they?
Take me to a state of mind that's made up, baby, that's made up.
Hardy has a new highlights in the ground into the South 5 where they the truck leaders were requirements. Airborne coming backwards and the help. Completely out of control. You see the skin marks now sort of locking it up, it's just sliding backwards. Just took off. It wasn't probably from the brake, put it in reverse. It would start sliding backwards. You put it in reverse and then drive it backwards. But no, I reckon it's still left on the drive.
Stopped up there somewhere for a photo. It was that. His tail there, anyway. Culvert, huh?
Looks like jamming over the tree for shits and gigs.
So would a farmer have to get a resource consent to cut a track? Knows what?
So you can find it when you need it.
That's cool, eh?
Jeez, H.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Stranded in the open, dried out tears of sorrow, lacking all emotion, staring down the barrel, waiting for the final gates to
Culvert right there, so it's
Morris, this is the way to go. I'll probably need to stop here for the next item. Yeah, that's right.
Copy, sir.
That's not good.
No sudden impact, but we had lost forward drive.
No noises or anything?
No, it just suddenly went. So that's in high Central
The first issue was to turn the vehicle around so it was pointing downhill. Once we got down to the gate, I discovered I could hold the vehicle and park, so I slipped it into reverse and it backed up the hill. I have full AA recovery insurance, but due to the location I knew this was going to be a slow recovery, but had to be grateful it happened near the road, not up on the ridge tops 20 minutes later. One of the marshals kindly towed us the 10 kilometres back to Ngamatapouri Hall, which was still over 40 kilometres from State Highway 3 at Waitotara, and the nearest cell phone coverage. Fortunately I carry a satellite text system and was able to contact home for my wife to call the AA recovery service. It took the AA over 8 hours before the recovery truck had arrived, which was a nervous wait as we had no idea if anyone was actually on their way, as the information had to be relayed via satellite and my wife had issues with gaining any updates from the AA. The vehicle was then loaded and we started the long, slow 43 kilometre drive out to State Highway 3 and the 60 kilometre drive to Hawera, where we reached about 10 PM. Having not had lunch, as we were expecting to be on our way home by that stage, food was a priority, but limited for choice at 10 PM in provincial New Zealand. It was fortunate the Golden Arches were open. We were informed that the AA agent had arranged for food and accommodation in Hawera, which proved to be incorrect, so we made our own arrangements. The recovery truck driver was keen to keep my vehicle locked up in their compound in Stratford, 30 kilometres further north, but after the driver asking how much fuel I had on board, I was not keen to be separated, and besides we would still have to be picked up again in the morning and would need our gear with us, so the Land-Rover was offloaded at a motel in Hawera. Monday morning it was back on the phone to AA Recovery, who arranged for a second truck to transport us to New Plymouth. The AA arranged for us to pick up a rental car from the airport, so we transferred our gear across and left the Land-Rover at another depot in New Plymouth. We were home by 6 PM on Monday night, and the Land-Rover arrived Tuesday morning, which I backed up the 1.5 kilometres up our driveway. The AA were very apologetic about the issues we encountered and later transported the Land-Rover free of charge to a workshop for the gearbox to be repaired.